Good evening and welcome to the Biternators podcast. It is Wednesday, February 27, 2019. Like one more day of February.
Yes, one more day.
It's crazy.
Isn't
This
it a
year's
leap
going
year?
fast. No, it's not a leap year. Next year, I think 2020.
Next year's leap
Yeah.
year.
So my name's Jacqueline. Arthur's here and so is Ryan. We're here. We're surviving winter. Crazy
Yes,
winter
we are.
windstorms this weekend. Did you have any trees or anything blow down, Arthur?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh. I was outside and it was like hearing those trees like groan and shake
Yeah.
was a little unnerving. I'm like, I
It
can see
is.
why people get scared when you're walking down the street and trees are blowing.
Try doing that fucking in Algonquin Park where there's literally no light and you can't see shit and you're like
Oh,
literally
you're
hearing
camping?
fucking trees exploding around you. Yeah. We went on this portage trip a few years back, me and a bunch of buddies, and we chose the wrong fucking weekend to do it. And there was just crazy
They get some
fucking
crazy
thunderstorms.
storms up there, yeah.
And yeah, like it's, I mean, I've never been in combat, but I mean, it sounded to me like fucking getting shelled. Like seriously, like you were hearing trees fucking exploding. It was nuts.
Jeez Louise, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
And then
dudes
we
that
had
was
more
with us.
winter. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, well, one of the dudes that was with us, he's fucking Mr. Tough Guy, fucking not scared of anything. At one point in time, the tent the four of us were in ended up fucking breaking, and you see him like cowering in the corner in his fucking sleeping bag, like I don't know. It was
Like
fun.
what happened? The tent poles broke or?
Oh no, something came through and just tore a hole in the side of the fucking tent. Like, the
Yeah, I
fucking
went to
limb
Algonquin
or-
quite a few times as a teenager camping and stuff. And we were in some heavy rainstorms.
Yeah.
I don't remember any big wind.
Yeah,
But yeah, some heavy rainstorms and stuff. But that's scary.
but it's
And
just
then-
gonna keep happening.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what we're going to get more of. This is what climate change is going to do here to our area of Canada.
I was
We're
just
going to have severe storms.
I can't remember what I saw or what I was watching, reading, whatever the fuck it was, but yeah, they were breaking it down about how, like, whatever fucking dirt comes over from the Sahara Desert that, fertilizes us is kind of drying up or some bullshit, and it's just causing us to have, like, crazier windstorms and stuff. So this year we'll probably actually see a hell of a lot more flooding down south,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Well, I didn't know because I'm not a weather person or science person. I like science, but I'm not that smart. But I always just thought it was because the extremes of the heating and the cooling is what makes the wind here. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't even know we had dirt from the desert in Africa.
yeah, the Sahara Desert essentially blows over in windstorms at what fucking fertilizes the Amazon rainforest, and it gives us a lot of our weather because it then covers that whole section of the world in the fucking cloud, heating us up, blah 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 blah. But
yeah. That's intense. It's intense. And then, we had more snow today and I'm complaining. I'm like, I'm just sick of the snow. Right. And people are like, well, you're going to Iceland. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have to shovel snow there.
I mean, I was in Iceland and I didn't see any fucking snow except for
You
right
were
on
in
the
the
tippy tops of the
I'm
mountains.
going in March. But I don't think they get like vast amounts. I think
No.
it goes pretty quickly too. Like it blows away.
I mean, yes, they're fairly far north, but you have to remember too that you're essentially on a giant active volcano. That shit's hot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It stays warm, but people are dumb.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, and from what I'm seeing, their temperatures aren't any colder than here.
Nope.
Probably a little even more mild than here. It's just windy and rainy.
There's
So
an infographic you'll see on the flight over. They play it on all the Icelandair videos, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it essentially equates it to they have more temperate fucking winters than like New York does.
yeah, because they
Right,
have
so-
the Gulf Stream coming up there too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
that was the whole fake up from the Vikings. They called
Yeah.
Iceland, even though it was
Yeah.
green, and they called Greenland, even though it's a glacier. So
No, and that's another way you can tell if someone's never actually fucking been anywhere. Anyone that's ever been to Iceland will tell you flat out, it's not the fucking snow or anything like that you have to worry about. It's the fucking wind.
yeah.
The wind is what will fucking kill
Oh,
you.
I go to that Iceland Reddit you told me to go to visiting
Yeah.
Iceland, and like every other post is about renting a 4x4
Yep.
or should I get the wind insurance on my rental? And I'm always like, yes, get the wind insurance.
100% get the wind insurance. I opened the fucking door of the camper and we nearly lost the door.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like,
You got to
yeah.
park downwind or whatever so the wind's not blowing at your doors.
man, I can't remember where I was reading or watching that, but yeah, apparently this year and next year as well, we're gonna get a lot more of like the heavy, crazy snows, winter
It's an El
storms.
Nino year too, right?
That I
which
don't
I
know.
think lends us to more snow in our areas. And Ryan, you probably had a lot more snow in New York this year too, right?
No, actually, believe it or not, we have not had a lot of snow in New York City.
Yeah.
New York
Yeah.
City. I can't speak about all the other cities
Yeah. I'm sure
upstate.
Buffalo has been
Yeah,
pummeled this
but
year.
we have not gotten a lot of snow. It's been weird. The weather patterns here have been so weird. One like this weekend that just passed, it was really warm. It was like maybe in the 50s. I was wearing a hoodie, and then today's it's in like the low 20s, and I'm wearing my full on Canada Goose. So
yeah, it wasn't too cold out today while I was out shoveling. I got really overheated and sweaty. I had to undo my jacket and take off my hat. But just sick of the snow. And I don't like in February we get snow, but I always find February tends to be a drier month here. Like January seems like more of a snowy month. So it's just like, just stop. Give me a break. Give me 2-week break without snow, please.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I know. And we're supposed to get snow. But the good thing is if you believe in the old come in like a lion, goes out like a lamb for March, we're supposed to get that snow on Saturday. So let's hope.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe a bunch of fucking, Roman fucking farmers. You know what I mean? Like,
but you know what? The Farmer's Almanac said we were going to have a rough winter, and so far, and I laughed. I'm like, who's going to believe chicken bones? And
this winter hasn't even been that rough as far as like we've been concerned, though. Like we had 3 days maybe of -40 weather.
Yeah, it hasn't been that cold,
right?
But it just I feel like it's been a lot more snow than we're accustomed to now.
Not even like again, like yes, we've had. I want to say about 4 snowfalls that were about 20 centimeters each. That's really not that much, especially considering what we used to fucking get. It's
used to. Climate change is not working in my favor. Is this what I'm saying?
No, it's not. I want lakefront property. Like let's fucking get after it.
I guess move to Florida.
See, that's what I want, lakefront or fucking oceanfront property without having to leave my house. So let's fucking get.
Well, I mean, I guess you're close enough to the lake that when when Oshawa starts to flood,
when everything fucking flips over on itself, I'll be sitting pretty.
Okay, so let's get to some stories. So we had the big story today, Michael Cohen testifying before Congress. And I mean, the same old hits that he said, that Trump was a liar, that Trump knew about the payments, that Trump was a racist. I don't think anything new came out that as far as I read or saw, but,
Well, he testified yesterday, not in public. That was private accounts. He's testifying today in public, and then another testimony tomorrow. Again, that's in private. I don't quite think the Republicans are going to allow him to release such, in quotations, juicy information, if there is any, out in the public. So, I don't know. I just don't think we're going to find the smoking gun that we're looking for, in quotations.
Not from
again.
him. I don't think from him, no. I think he's basically dropped all the bombs he's got.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he basically said that Trump knew everything about it. What I found kind of entertaining, now I didn't go there and look, but I just read the recap article that were talking about the Trump boys, Eric and Don Jr. tweeting all day their reactions. And I'm just like, Don Jr., you might want to sit back and be quiet. Like, he's like, I hope you enjoy prison. I'm thinking, you're going to be next. So just maybe you should just stay a little humble and quiet before your day in court comes.
I can honestly say I haven't paid a single bit of attention to this. Like, as I kind of professed earlier on last year, or might have been this year, there's nothing that's going to be found, said, or anything that's going to do anything to that man. You know what I mean? Like, nothing is going, you're not going to find any smoking gun. There's not going to be any fucking hard evidence that's ever going to get him impeached or anything. Just get out and vote.
It's just, I mean, even still, I mean, however long it's been since he, ran for president and all these little scandals started coming out, big scandals, it just shocks me. Like, these would be career-ending scandals for anybody else. But for whatever reason, this guy, like we said last week, Ryan and I, he really is Teflon Donald,
You're not getting anything to stick. Like, unfortunately, you're just going to have to get out and vote. Like, that's it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Hope his base dies off.
Right.
And,
I mean, I just, today and yesterday a little bit, just seeing people and their kind of elation on the internet to, whatever the fuck was going on. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you're not going to get him with anything. Like, you're not. Like, this guy's been a skeezy piece of shit forever. You don't think he knows how to fucking, like, hide his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what one thing I did hear, because I had CNN on and I was kind of listening, but not totally intently. I did hear, like, somebody was asking him, he's like, well, do you have any text message proof? He's like, President Trump doesn't text.
Exactly.
He's like, you have email. He's like, he doesn't email.
Yep.
You know, so unless you get him in a recording, like, you know, some people have recordings that are apparently are coming out, you're not going to get anything on him, because he doesn't put it down on paper. He doesn't put it down on electronically. He's smart that way, savvy.
Like, who would have guessed a guy that does shoddy fucking business deals would be good at covering his tracks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always thought it was very wishful thinking by the, you know, his dissenters, of thinking that they're going to catch him in some big fucking conspiracy and just oust them. You know, it's not going to happen. And it's actually starting to get kind of frustrating to me watching people still holding on hope that they're going to, you know, oh, well, fucking this guy's going to say something, or the P video is going to be released, or fucking this and that. Like, just shut up. You have nothing. Like, you literally have nothing on this fucking guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he might be a fucking clown, but he's really smart at fucking hiding his shit.
Exactly. I mean, we all know we got money from the Russians, but they haven't been able to find it yet. So he's hidden it smart. He's hidden it in a smart way.
Right? Like,
so. And
I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm a fucking supporter or anything, but at the same point in time, I do kind of admire that snakiness of him in that manner. Like, well,
you have to kind of. Yeah, like I'm saying, like, you can't catch him on these things. Nothing has killed his career that would have killed other people. Right. I do kind of have a kind of sense of admiration in that sense, like anybody else.
A little bit, yeah. Like, you know, it's like when you root for the murderer or whatever in a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird, and you know you shouldn't be doing it, but at the same point in time, like, man, I applaud.
I watched the Americans and I was rooting for the Russian spies. Like, come on.
Like, the lengths you went to fucking cover your tracks is actually very commendable. Yeah. As guzzy as a fucking human being as you are.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get more stuff will come out. The Mueller investigation is supposed to drop sometime soon. Like we said last week, I don't think he's going to get nailed by anything in the Mueller investigation.
No, oh God. Highly doubt it.
Did he sit there and aggressively pour water though while he was being fucking interviewed though? Because I need more of that Kavanaugh shit. That shit was perfect.
That was hysterical.
It was so good.
When he cried about Tobin and Sweeney and his calendar.
That shit was so good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I do like when Matt Damon does that on SNL, because he nails it perfectly. He nails it perfectly.
Oh, it was so good.
So yeah, we'll obviously update, but let's move on. Let's talk about the other story that Ryan and I talked about last week. Arthur and I talked about previously. Let's talk about Jusse Smollett. So we all know who he is. This is somebody who was a nobody. Nobody knew his name, and now everybody knows his name. He was arrested and charged with filing a fraudulent police report in the
Jusse
quote. Yeah, Jusse Smollett. In the quote, hate crime that he claimed was against him. He said 2 white men in the middle of the night on the coldest night in Chicago came out and poured bleach on him, put a rope around his neck, and told him it's MAGA country. And then it turned out that he hired 2 Nigerian brothers, people he was associated with, personal trainers, worked on the set of Empire, hired them to carry this out. And and right from the start, Arthur and I said, we don't want to, we don't want to say like we don't believe him, but we don't believe him. Something's not adding up here.
I don't want to ever deny people and their fucking claims to hate crimes. You know what I mean? But no, there's no way in hell I was ever biting that. Again, I wasn't here for the last week, so I don't know what you guys might have said, but we
didn't believe him. Yeah.
The thing that really disgusts me, and it's why I've been talking out against it on the internet to a few people that I've seen kind of writing it off, like, oh, it started a conversation, go fuck yourself. This guy was willing to let the first 2 fucking white people that the cops fucking picked up rot in fucking prison for a crime that never fucking happened.
Yeah, fuck this motherfucker. We're walking down the street and got caught on.
Do you know what I mean? Like fuck this guy. I hope he does the fucking 3 to 5 years he's facing. This shit would be unacceptable, especially for any person of color. Like, I'm sorry, not fucking sorry. Like, you cannot tell me that like, he started a conversation. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is exactly what we predicted would happen. Is now you've got the extreme right wing, racist that are saying, oh, look, this guy made up a hate crime. Now we can't believe any of the hate crimes are accusing. This is exactly what we predicted would happen.
Just gave them a fucking rallying cry. So now anytime something happens, these fucking alt-right assholes now have a fucking clear-cut example to shut you and your fucking argument down. Going, well, look, and then you...
Pathetic. They're saying, now, the police are saying that he did it because he was either worried he was going to be written off the show or he wasn't getting paid enough, and he thought that this would help with his negotiation contract or his contract negotiations. What the fuck? Like, this is the worst thought out plan either. Like, nothing adds up. Like, right from the very beginning, the very next day, Arthur and I were like, this doesn't seem right. And we're not police investigators. Do you know what I mean?
Come the fuck on. You play... honest, like, so you're telling me that these fucking Nazis, these racists, these people that absolutely hate every fiber of your being, watch your show so goddamn much that they develop feelings about you and start following you around in fucking Chicago, wearing fucking MAGA hats, carrying around a noose? No. Nowhere in the realm of anything that's possible will that fucking scenario ever happen. Especially with two dudes in MAGA hats in Chicago. They would have been fucking, they would have got the shit kicked out of them so fucking quick. You know what I mean? Fuck out of here. And now what's he saying? Oh, well, it's an undiagnosed or something fucking drug addiction. No, you don't get to write this off. You do not get to write this off.
You're not going to rehab and getting a 3-month probation and community service. Buddy needs jail time. Sorry.
No, but this also just ruins all of those people who like how many times are we now going to hear, because the whole R. Kelly thing is going into courts, right? How many of those people are now going to say, oh, but if Jusse Smollett or Juicy, whatever his name is, can fake this, then I'm sure they're faking that. Or, you know, the whole Bill Cosby thing. Or what's this, the other one that's going into court as well, Weinstein, right? It's just so insane. Like, why would you fake something like this? This is crazy.
Like, he could have, you know what, like, was it Bill Maher? Maybe it was Bill Maher. Somebody made a joke, and like, if you wanted that to happen, you could have just went to Texas.
Right? Like, that's the fucking craziest part about it, is that this shit does happen. It does fucking, not to the fucking fantastical fucking element that he fucking drew up, but hate crimes do happen. And I'm not saying, like, just go out and allow yourself to be fucking hate crime. That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, that's, you know, but like, this shit is real, and here you are fucking sullying like what actual victims of actual hate crimes have went through, all because what? You're not happy with the fact that no one gives a fuck about who you are?
We've seen all summer long. We had all these videos coming out of, you know, like Lemonade Stan, Linda reporting these kids, with, you know, and all these, like, you know, like, thankfully none of them were physically attacked, but a lot of these like racist acts. We see it happens, Jesse. We don't need you to make false reports. We know racism is alive and well.
I'm really upset with the apologists.
It backfired on him. Out of a job. He's been written out of the last 2 episodes. He had a huge fight. Apparently, Terrence Howard, who I hate to defend because he's a horrible leader of a person, went off on him and was yelling at him and told him he's a horrible person and a fucking liar. So good on you for that, Terrence, you woman-beating piece of shit. But you know, and now he's got no job. His career's done.
Fuck yeah, no one's gonna want to work with him. The one good thing that I think that came out of it, though, is it might teach some of these perpetually outraged Twitter fucking activists to calm their fucking tits when they first hear, like, the first reports of something.
You don't have to be the first person calling, you know, the outrage and the horror.
Exactly.
Like, so, like, damn, that's, you know, like, I sent a message to my friends. I'm like, this is horrible. Did you hear about this? I wonder if it's true. That was what I did. I didn't put anything on Facebook because I didn't believe it.
No, because there's been a few people, like, you know, I don't want to say prominent fucking journalists because I don't even think prominent journalists exist anymore. But you know what I mean? A bunch of you know, Twitter fucking people that had to redact their shit.
And there was all kinds of news people that reported on it. And
so I'm hoping, I'm hoping that's going to be my one little bit of silver lining from this whole fucking embarrassment, is that it might teach these people to, like, not be so fucking reactionary and start condemning people within seconds. Listen, fucking wait for some facts. Like,
let an investigation come. You know, I talked to one of Marley's friends, and I said, you know, like, what do you think? Because this is when they were starting to investigate Justin.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you think? And she's like, oh, I believe the Chicago police that hit a murder and pretended that the police didn't murder a 17-year-old boy in a hallway or something. And I'm just like, okay.
Oh, she's She's speaking a dialect of woke that hasn't fucking come over this way
yet.
Fuck.
She said to Marley,
a little heavy.
Marley wants to be a cop, and she's like, "You better not kill any innocent black people." And Marley's like, "Well, can I kill like guilty black people?"
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck's sakes. Like I'm all for people being woke, but holy shit!
I know.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think though that in the day and age of like celebrity, like this whole Jusse Smollett, Juicy, whatever his name is, I don't even know anymore.
It's Juicy. Just call him Juicy. It's better that way.
That's what he's gonna be called in prison.
Whatever his name is, Mr. Smollett. So now you no longer have a career, right?
Yeah.
You could just call his career over and done with.
Was about to drop, bitch. That is gonna.
That is literally gonna drop. You know, like. I don't know. Like I just don't. I tried not to pay attention to the story because it just astounded me. Like in this day and age, you really thought you were going to get away with this.
Well, and it's enraging because Ryan, you know, I mean, you're a gay man out and about, and I mean, I don't know if I would assume, you know, you've been had hate speech thrown at you, whether it's for being a person of color, a POC, or being a gay person. No, nobody's ever said anything racist to you?
No, I thought you just said POC. I'm like, what is a POC? I think it's POS.
Person of color. Not a piece of shit, Ryan. I would just call you that.
Wow.
Is there's genuinely people that face, homophobia every day of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's legal to be homophobic in how many states, Ryan?
27.
Yeah.
Well,
so you didn't need to add to the cause, Jesse. You really set both causes back so far.
It's dumb. Like for me, I get it. Some people are sensitive, right? Like you can call me whatever name you want to call me in the book, unless you pay my bills and you eat my vagina. It does not fucking matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit me hard,
Yeah.
And for you, you felt so out of place after having the limelight that you've had, the great, couple of seasons that Empire has had. You felt the need to do this to prove. I just want to understand what you're trying to prove. You know what I mean? I want to get that.
And this is the thing that, about celebrity. Like, even though they're celebrities and they're making lots of money and, they're still sad losers with bad ideas like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of pin it down to a level of entitlement, though. He felt entitled to people's outrage. He felt entitled to, you know what I mean? Like, people to give him sympathy.
Well,
and this is the road that he went.
Drop. I think he thought it would boost sales.
Yeah. Like it's upsetting that you do have a certain demographic of people in the world that feel like they have the right to do this kind of shit.
People did call him the F word or call him the F word. And so he felt, or maybe he felt intimidated by somebody at one point. So maybe he thought, well, this has happened to me previously, so I'm just going to use that and I'm justified in using it because it would happen anyway.
Yeah,
right? Is what maybe he's thinking this.
But
no.
You're fucking not.
No.
Again, like this is terrible and I've already seen it. I've already seen it on some of the, some of the more seedier sides of the internet where, these alt-righters, these fucking Nazis, these world-class pieces of shit are using this as a rallying cry. And they're using it as a way to fucking just discount anything that anyone has to say that goes against what they believe because, well, look, we have hard, concrete fucking proof that, well, this is them saying it, but your side lies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's what everything's about right now. All political discourse is about your side versus my side. And, well, one guy just kind of
that guy just got caught in a big lie.
Right? So, like, even with, with people announcing their runs for president, I've seen people use it against Bernie supporters already.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm very upset with the people like, oh, but, he at least started a conversation. No, you don't get to use that this time. You don't get to use that this time. This is not a conversation starter. Like, you should be just as offended as everyone else is that this guy had to fucking lie. Yeah. And like that's scummy. It's fucking scummy.
We can't forgive this. We cannot. You know, like I agree lots of people deserve second chances in life, and this guy can get a second chance, but we're not forgiving this. We'll never forgive it and say, oh, it's okay. He was a drug addict. He was mentally, he was emotionally. Nobody gives a shit about that shit.
Like, I'm not saying he can't come back and have a fucking, you know, lustrous career, but you have to face the consequences for these actions.
Piper, buddy.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know, you're man enough to do the crime, do the time.
That's kind of what everybody's been saying too. It's like, you have to suffer for this, you know, in a way. You have to.
He's frightened. He learned his lesson. Like,
not even suffer. I'd like to use the word repent, and I mean, but true repentance. You know what I mean? And just saying you're sorry on some Diane Sawyer or whatever other fucking talking head bullshit's out there. That's not enough. That's not enough. He's hurt some shit doing this, and again, I'm upset. I'm more upset at the fact that there's a lot of people making excuses.
With actual victims of hate crimes,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, go with, I don't know if they have a support group. You know what I mean? Like I always think back when people make false claims about hate crimes. I always think back to those pictures of Emmett Till.
Yep, fucking right.
You know, or what was his name, Ryan? The one that the gay kid out in the country, they tied him to the fence after they
oh my god, they made the
Matthew Shepard.
Yeah.
I thought his name was Matthew, but I didn't want to say the wrong name.
Terrible.
You know, you think of that sort of horrible torture that these two individuals went through, and then this guy's making like a mockery to get a better career. Fuck you.
Shameful. Like, it's absolutely shameful. And I'm like, again, I'm not fucking trying to call for this guy's head or anything like that. I'm not fucking saying that.
No, but he needs to do his time.
Yeah, he needs to face the fucking music for this, because that's a very abhorrent thing, and I don't think any of us should fucking stand for that kind of behavior. Not in the climate we live right now. Like, not with how the fucking world is, not where we are socially with one another. You know what I mean? Like, if we're trying to fix our wrongs and we're trying to make fucking life better for everyone, then nobody can let this shit slide. We can't allow this stuff. And this is not only for hate crimes. I'm talking also fucking false abuse claims, false rape claims, fucking any of that shit. These people need to start being held accountable for it. I'm tired of people hiding behind the fucking veil of fake fucking victimhood just because, well, they started a conversation, or, well, they brought a real problem to the forefront. Yeah, but this isn't a real problem. You're a liar.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you are, is a fucking liar.
Yeah, and you're making it worse for actual victims, for anything, like you said, rape, abuse, mental abuse, anything.
Yep.
You know, sexual harassment, whatever it is, you're making it worse for actual victims. There's true victims, you know, out there that are suffering from all kinds of, you know, horrors of the world. The world's a horrible place, you know? And when you do it to get attention or, you know, feel better in your victimhood or whatever it is, fuck off.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone can fucking say enough about it. You know what I mean? Like, at least how disgusting of a fucking action that is.
Yeah, it's a real scumbag move.
It really is. Yeah.
Let's go on to another story. We've talked many times about this. Arthur and I, Ryan's been here for a few of them. These emotional support animals. No, because here's the difference. Now, remember, we're saying emotional support animal, not a true service animal, okay? Not a trained monkey that can, you know, help a paraplegic and get their water and fetch their medicine. We're talking about an emotional support animal. So here's a case of this woman who had her dog. She's in the airport. She's at the Portland International Airport with her, quote, emotional support animal. A little girl was there, 5-year-old girl was there. She asked if she could pet the dog. The owner of the dog said, oh, yeah, she can pet the dog. The dog bit her face, caused quite a bit of damage to her face. The mom is now filing a $1.1 million lawsuit against the owner of the pit bull and Alaska Airlines, because she's saying, like, they didn't do anything to make sure that this was a true service animal, and that the dog should have been in a kennel or a pen and not, you know, out wandering around where it could be biting little girls' faces off.
That's a fair point.
That's a
absolutely.
good point, though. Yeah, it's a really good point.
You know,
so basically, I just want to read this because this is something that was really interesting to me. So Alaska Airlines does not require emotional support animals to be in crates, stating on its website that pets must be at least leashed and under control of the owner. However, the Port of Portland felt Brennan, that's the owner, dog should have been in a crate or a kennel, and cited her for failing to do so before the alleged attack. So she'd already been, you know what I mean? Like they already are saying like that dog should have been. So they've admitted that they're going to lose their part of it, or they're going to settle, obviously, because they're already in wrongdoing. But the other thing was the form letter. So the attorney of the mother of the child said, the owner was reportedly carrying what appeared to be a form letter from her therapist, although it was not specific. It didn't say what kind of animal, it just said animal. So this is the thing. These are the form letters that anybody can get.
Yep.
And that's why you have your peacocks and your freaking alligators and all these stupid emotional support animals. No, someone, and because it happened to be a pit bull, now you have all these people who are like, kill all the pit bulls. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to have a dog that has been trained and knows its job. Jesus.
Just a little FYI, if you ever see a service animal and you ask to pet it and the owner says yes, don't trust that fucking animal. That's not a service animal. You're not allowed to interact with them. They're fucking working dogs.
Yeah,
they're not
I was going to say
pets. Like,
yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Typically, most owners of service animals don't even want you to acknowledge.
No,
exactly.
You don't say good doggy. You don't do anything. You literally ignore it as if it was their cane or whatever. Because it's there for a purpose. At home, it gets pets and cuddles, but when it's out working, it's working.
So I mean, that's kind of an oversight by the parent. You know what I mean? It's kind of your fault that you're too fucking dumb to even know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like we're not here to fucking babysit you and your idiocy. You know what I mean? If you're too fucking stupid to know that that's not a real service animal, then, well, your kid got bit. Suck a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, honestly, like, if my kid had asked, if I'd seen a dog wearing a vest, right? Like the vest that these emotional support dogs wear now too, which pissed me off. I'd be like, no, that's a working dog. You don't pet it, sweetie. And that's what I would have said. It just blows my mind. And it's like, I always talk about this story about the people that come into work with their fake dog. I know it's freaking fake. So I was at McDonald's and they were in McDonald's. So basically what it is, there's a blind father and they got 2 kids and the woman always walks the dog. The dog has a harness and I've seen the dog walking on the leash 5 feet ahead of them. The man never holds on to the dog. He holds on to the wife or to the son. So, and I know he's really blind, but like, what if the dog is for him, why isn't the dog in his hand, right? So we were in McDonald's and they were at the table next to me and this little girl came up and she's like, oh, can I pet the dog? And her mom's like, oh no, that you can go pet a service dog. And she's like, oh no, he's tired of working, so you can pet him. I literally wanted to just yell, you fucking bullshitters, in their faces.
You should have. Load up the fucking cell phone camera.
I don't want to become viral for a hate crime against a blind person.
Well, I'll just make sure that your argument holds water and everything will be okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's all we fucking expect. But yeah, no, that's just people. What I keep saying, fucking scum. We love exploiting shit.
Yeah.
And it makes all because they want fucking Fluffy to be with them.
Yeah, it makes me so annoyed.
But no, if you ever ask to pet someone's service dog and they say, yeah, don't trust that fucking dog. Don't trust that dog. And I mean, like, how'd the kid approach the puppy? Like, how'd you approach the dog? Like, there's so many more fucking factors than just, oh, well, you bit the kid. You know what I mean?
And from what I've read in this article, so this dog was a rescue animal. So the lady rescued the dog from a shelter, and then as much as the dog loved the owner, it never really interacted well with other dogs.
Yeah. And
it never had real socialization or any real training. So of course, when a little kid comes up, and kids are loud and do crazy shit, and the dog's now in an airport where it's probably not really been very often.
That's fucking straight sensory overload.
Yeah, it's not the dog's fault that it's going to do this. The dog is just doing what dogs do. That's the only way they can react when they're scared, is to growl or bite or bark, right?
But unfortunately, the breed, and you know what I mean, it happened to a kid, that dog will probably be destroyed.
Yeah, that's the sad thing.
Right? It's terrible. It sucks. It's one of the things I'm constantly telling the kids behind my house that go to school, the school there. And I have no problem with them petting her and stuff, but Callie gets excited, and sometimes if she gets excited, she might nip. She wants to play. That's how me and my dog play. Yeah. And I say
when I come home and I'm very excited, she'll nip my wrist.
Yeah, right? And I say to the kids, I'm like, look, you have to understand that if she fucking nips at you and you go and tell a teacher, well, I have to put my dog down now. That's not fair to me, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like I get angry. I mean, I got angry the once when the kid was throwing fucking rocks at her.
Well,
but, you know, it's more about just educating the kids. And I think this instance is a good fucking learning, you know.
Yeah, please,
Something
people.
that little girl can fucking learn from.
Please, people. Well, and I always did. One of the things I did when my kids were very young, and even still to this day, they always say that to me. Always ask before you pet any animal.
Oh, yeah.
Because not every animal likes people, and not every animal likes kids. And I'd always be like, ask the owner, can I pet your dog? Right? Like, that was always the first thing they asked. And even still, you know, you have to be careful about what dogs you're petting, because even though the owner says they're great with kids, you know, suddenly they bite your hand off because you scared them or you smell like bacon or something. I
somehow have the opposite effect. Dogs that are supposedly mean fucking love me. Like, animals fucking love me. It's insane. Like, I've never met a dog, a bad dog, mean dog, anything that, like, I'm not rolling around the ground fucking petting. You know what I mean? Like, it might be the hair.
Yeah, maybe. One of us.
Yeah, it might be the hair. Yeah, fuck, that sucks. I mean, hopefully Alaskan Airlines fucking changes that policy, because it's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah. Like, and that's why I think a lot of airlines down on certain types. Like we said, they're not allowing certain types of emotional support animals on board. They have to be a dog or a cat. Like,
I'm sorry,
but even
you can't bring your fucking therapy cockroaches on the flight, Susan. Like,
like, honestly, you know what I mean? Like, I get your, like, you have anxiety or whatever the fucking problem is in your life. You know what I mean?
Anxiety. Oh, fuck off.
But you know what I mean? Like, unless you're, like, honestly, I don't have a lot of sympathy for people that aren't really suffering from, like, PTSD. Yeah. Like, if you got anxiety, I get it. We all get anxiety, but we suffer through life when we get through it, right? I mean, obviously, if you've suffered a traumatic event, that's a little different. I'm not making light of your situation. But if you can't get your shit together to go on a fucking 5-hour flight without your pet raccoon, you gotta
like, no, but it's true. I have anxiety, right? I don't take any medication for my anxiety. My anxiety is diagnosed. Because there's a difference between undiagnosed and diagnosed. I just want to make that clear to some people.
There's not, like, 90% of anxiety sufferers are self-diagnosed.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, good for them. But in my situation, for me, it's like, I've been on multiple plane rides. I don't feel the need to have, like, a special pair of underwear that I'm sniffing on the ride. Granted, I don't have one. Like, you know, that I sniff on the ride, or I don't.
Elvis underwear to sniff when I go on a plane? Is that a thing?
Like, I still have a sense of control. Yeah. I still have a sense of, you have to go through your job. Part of it is that you have to remind yourself to keep your feet grounded. You know what I mean? That everything is still happening, and that part of anxiety is that it's unjustified fear, right? You're fearful of things and you can't justify why. You're just feeling this emotion, you just don't know why. So for me, it's like, you just have to remind yourself that. Nobody else can remind you that but yourself.
Kind of part of life too. Like, as I was, like, when I was a kid, when you had to do new things or things you didn't want to do, you learned coping mechanisms. You know what I mean? Like, do people not learn that anymore?
Yeah, but there's a big difference between us being able to develop our coping mechanisms and having everyone be a fucking helicopter parent nowadays.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was overprotective, but I, like, you know, my kids had to do shit, and I mean, I think my kids. Marley always says she has anxiety, but I think she's just shy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna blame all that fucking shit on, you know, the difference between generations, because that's lame. But I do feel like that's a little bit of it, is that kids haven't faced adversity.
Yeah, like, we went out and played for 12 hours of the day and had, like, weird men trying to lure us into their cars and shit. Like, I guess that's why I survive a lot now.
As fucked up as that is, like, as fucked up as a statement as that is, it does kind of lean a little bit to the truth, at least that we're trying to portray here, right? Like, that it does kind of help you cope a little bit better in life.
Yeah, I feel like my generation in general is definitely more street smart than, say, my kids' generation. Because they didn't really play on the streets like we did.
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. I'll still punch your peacock in the face if I see it coming on a goddamn airplane. I don't give a fuck.
I'd love to see that, honestly. And I'm not for animal
peacock.
But fuck that peacock. Let's talk about more stuff that makes me angry, and I know it makes you guys angry too. anti-vaxxers.
Oh my God, don't get me started. I don't want to know.
So, I mean, like, the news is coming out all over the place that there's measles outbreaks in China, there's measles outbreaks in America, there's measles outbreaks in Germany, there's one out in BC. Yep. So it's happening all over the place. And for some reason, some advertising company and an anti-vax nonprofit organization here in Toronto bought 50 billboards, digital billboards, basically, and like they're ridiculous. So one says, it's got a picture of a kid sitting on stairs holding her little dolly, and it says, "No shots, no school, not true." Basically saying that, you know, you can still get into school without your shots. The next one is like, learn your rights and educate yourself, and vaccinechoicecanada.com. Screw you, vaccine choice. You know what I mean? And now one city councillor is saying he's really upset by this, but I think the whole city council should be pissed off, because I got a note when my kids' vaccinations were about to run out, and they said she wouldn't be allowed back in school unless she got her vaccination. So
I got suspended because I wasn't up to date on my fucking vaccinations.
I wasn't mad. By the way, I wasn't mad that they sent me this letter. I said, "Oh, good, thanks for reminding me," and I took my daughter for the shot.
I fucking hate people. The problem is, it's the whole conspiracy thing all over again, right? Yeah. You have people that they start with an answer, and then they just try to work backwards to find proof that their fucking bullshit exists, right? It's the same with flat earthers or the lizard people or all these fucking morons.
Yeah.
But none of them are as inherently dangerous to the fucking population as anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Like,
they really are. Like, those words, inherently dangerous, are nothing more true.
Costa Rica completely eradicated measles. There hadn't been a measles case in the fucking country for, I think it was like saying 6 or 7 years. And then some entitled French bitch with her unvaccinated kids just reintroduced that country to fucking the measles. There are people dying right now because of these assholes, and they're abso-fucking-lutely. And the worst part is, and this is what fucking ticks me off because it's going to affect me and the things I like doing, is now I'm going to need to get fucking inoculation licenses essentially to travel. Yeah. I'm not going to be allowed in certain fucking countries, rightfully so, if I don't have these fucking vaccines.
You know what? I'm kind of on board for those. I mean, as much as it might be like painful for some people or a pain in the ass, but like you just have the story that someone was traveling. I don't even know where they traveled from, but they were in Edmonton for 19 hours before they went up to the Yukon and to Nunavut.
Yeah.
They potentially, for 19 hours, gave measles to numerous amounts of people.
Yep. No, it's absolutely insane. It's crazy. And it's just growing. It's growing and growing.
Will travel, and like all these people are like, "Oh, I didn't, you know, little Landon." I shouldn't say Landon. That's my nephew's name. But you know what I mean? Like little Landon didn't get his vaccinations, and you know what I mean? Like,
I just mean the whole anti-vax sentiment. Like, I don't even know where the fuck it came from. Like, you can't tell me it was that fucking whatever study Jenny McCarthy kept fucking parading around, because that was fucking proven to be fake so many fucking times.
They don't believe that, but they still believe. You know what I mean? Like, I read comments about this, and people still honestly believe that it's causing problems. There's a guy on this article that they talked to. He's part of this Vaccination Choice Canada, and he's saying that his name is Ted Kuntz. That's his name. Cuntz. I didn't make that name up.
Oh, that's Kuntz. That's
Kuntz. He describes himself in various open letters as the parent of a vaccine-injured child who is now deceased. So he's claiming the vaccine injured his child and the child died.
Prove it.
Yeah. I mean, there are rare cases where people are allergic to it and pass away. That's extremely minuscule, the amount. And even still, and this is the other thing that gets me. Even if vaccinations caused autism, I'd rather have an autistic child than a dead child.
Yeah. Or, you know, just a sick population. You know, like, fuck these idiots. And again, it all comes back down to entitlement. These people believing that their right to pseudoscience, right, is more valid than anybody else's right to live. Because it is. It's fucking pseudoscience.
Honestly, if my kid got sick, and I mean, you'd have to put me in jail, because if my kid got sick and I found out there was a parent who didn't vaccinate their kid and my kid got sick because of them, I would be beating the shit out of the parents. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't be able to stop me from going after them with a baseball bat.
I think that's
I agree with you. I agree with you on this. Like, this pisses me off to another level. Like, I have a niece who's, you know, she's very young. She's in kindergarten, and it would be so irresponsible of other parents to expose her to certain stuff. Like, what are you guys thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you thinking? Like, you think that this is okay?
Oh, and I hate the argument where they say, "Oh, well, if the herd's supposed to protect them, why are kids getting sick?" And it's like, are you dumb? It's because your part of the herd is not protected.
Right. No, that's it though. It's a fundamental lack of understanding of what science and the scientific method means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where a lot of this comes from. Is just people's inability to understand what science and the scientific method is and how it fucking works. And then again, you have people that just they just believe that everyone's out to get them. The government's out to get you. And I think that's
government's tracking you through vaccinations
I think that's
controlling you.
A lot of the people that are being fucking predated by this. You know, because I have a few anti-vaxxers on my Facebook list. Now I just keep them around now to laugh at their fucking nonsense. And I'm looking at them, and they were young. When they were young, they were like punk rockers and shit. So they were already very anti-establishment, anti-fucking everything. And you know, they quote unquote had an expanded conscience, and they'd ask the questions. And now I'm like, well, you've asked too many stupid fucking questions, and look at you. You know what I mean? Like now you're
not dying of the measles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, like, you know what I love, like, about being alive right now is I don't have to live in an iron lung the rest of my fucking life. Like,
exactly.
polio is not a thing I have to deal with.
To wear fucking braces and walk on crutches because I got polio.
But again, their right to be fucking ignorant supersedes our right. Like,
every government would pass sweeping laws, and I mean, I agree with people having rights and stuff, but I'm sorry, I don't think you should have the right to not vaccinate your child unless the kid has an actual, you know, illness, allergy or something like that. That the, you know, a real, true, valid.
Yeah, but like it still shouldn't be the public's fault that you birthed the fucking bubble baby. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my fault your fucking genes are so fucking weak. Your kid can't fucking, like, it's allergic to the wind. Fuck you. That's not my beef. Like,
I had a friend in high school who he missed like 3 weeks of school because meningitis was going around. We all had to get meningitis vaccinations, and he was allergic to eggs, and he couldn't get the vaccination because it has eggs in it.
Yeah, and that's
he left school for 3 weeks and then came back.
Thing, right?
That's what you call a vacation.
Yeah, but that's valid. That's a valid fucking reason.
Yeah.
Not, but just reading some quack fucking doctor who, by the way, lost his fucking medical license for writing this shit because it was proven that he faked the whole fucking thing, and toting that around as if it's like your holy grail of, well, this is why you're an idiot. Well, no, like, you're an idiot. Like, you're an absolute idiot.
I'm just tired of hearing this on the news. When was it? Like the other day, I was reading 3 articles all on YouTube. Basically kind of putting this on their ads. I think they've finally banned the anti-vaxxer ads.
Good.
But it's like, I don't have any children, so I can't speak on being a parent. But as one who cares for a child, aka my niece, and I don't care for a lot of people. I think that's public knowledge at this point. I just don't want her to be like, what if somebody all of a sudden walks in, I'm sure this is an exaggeration, with fucking TB? You know what I mean? Like,
but that's
very possible.
World travelers,
because you refuse to do the PPD, right? Remember the PPD test? Because you refuse to have this. Now all of us are fucking exposed to TB. Like,
you don't have to love a child to not want a random stranger child to die from a horrible disease that's preventable.
Yeah.
I pretty much hate everyone's fucking kids.
Should not be dying in North America from the measles. People should not be dying in Europe from the measles. These are not, you know what I mean? Like, I get like places in like
industrialized countries,
where, you know, access in Africa, you don't have access to medical vaccinations. I get why it's sad that people are still dying of these things there. Nobody should be dying in Canada from the measles. We have free fucking healthcare. You get free vaccinations. No one should be dying from anything like that.
I literally saw a story earlier today where some kid died of meningitis because his parents opted out of the vaccine and gave him essential oils.
Oh,
and yeah. And these parents, I mean, they'll you know, a little bit of child endangerment, but nothing fucking savage will happen to them. And I think that's another big issue with this, is that our governments, our laws are not. Because again, it's hard to say you have to force these people to do something. Because I'm Mr. Fucking, you ain't forcing me to do shit, you know. But like, you know, just like the people in Canada here that
If
let their
you
kid
wanna
fucking
go
die.
to school, or you want to go to a daycare, or you want to go to any kind of city public funded, you know, like city groups or, you know, play stuff, I'm sorry, I think your kid should have to be vaccinated.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just talking more or less the punishment angle of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these people fucking allowing their children to die, or their kids to die, sorry, on these quack fucking homeopathic fucking idiots fucking suggestions.
That'll bring us to our final story that I have ready to go. And this is a horrible story that could 100% have been prevented. We're talking about a 13-year-old boy in California. His name was Edgar Lopez. He was a type 1 diabetic. His parents chose to take him to a herbalist. And instead of taking his insulin, they rubbed lavender oil on his spine. He died of a cardiac arrest and died very quickly from his diabetes, a couple days, obviously.
And those parents should face fucking murder 2 charges as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Not manslaughter, because that wasn't an accident. You willfully and ignorantly endangered someone's fucking life. Now, you didn't pre-plan this murder, so it can't be murder 1, but that should be second-degree murder in any fucking developed nation. We can't let this shit go anymore. We can't. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, how is it that in 2019 we all have the world's fucking knowledge in our pocket? Every single fucking human being has a goddamn cell phone. Yet we have idiots believing the earth is flat, and idiots believing that vaccines are worse for you than fucking what the vaccine cures. Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
It's insane. It hurts me to fucking think about that we've regressed to what? We're back in the fucking Christian Dark Ages? Oh, because that was fun. What next? We're gonna start burning women at the fucking stake again? Fuck. Like,
no, it's crazy. I do want to say that, and this is the sad part. So this young 13-year-old boy had his life stolen from him, right? The man, the self-proclaimed, quote, master herbalist, Timothy Morrow, he's 84 years old, and this is what he's going to jail for. He's going to jail for 4 months. He was found guilty on 1 count of practicing medicine without a license.
Like, that's ridiculous. If I tell you,
1 count of child abuse.
If I sit here on the show and I advocate, hey, you'll never have fucking smoother fucking skin in your life than if you take a bath with a plugged-in toaster. I'm essentially telling people to fucking kill themselves. You know what I mean? Or, hey, you'll never have a cleaner fucking smile in your life if you put a fucking loaded gun to your temple and pull the trigger. And people do that. Should I not be at fucking fault for, like, people killing themselves? How the fuck is this?
We just had that girl we talked about last week, Ryan.
I was going to say, according to that law, that will, because I think that's going to be questioned shortly thereafter, that's going to affect it. But my understanding was always, and Jacqueline, this brings us back to almost 10 years ago when we were still doing that show.
Yeah.
We were discussing, and I think it was our old co-host, I'll name him. Is it okay to name him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Chris had said, but if it is done in satirical fashion, it is okay. See, that's the thing. That's part of what kind of annoys me sometimes is if I text you and I say to you, oh yeah, but if you, kind of like what you said, if you put a gun to your head, you won't, you know, blah, blah, blah. If I was joking around, I get away with it. I again, still, I'm going to reiterate what I said to Jacqueline last week in regards to that girl. I have a fine line between the two things, but when it comes to science stuff, you know what I mean? Like, a herbalist is not a doctor.
Right.
No, and this makes me mad because I see the mom on here. I'm reading the quotes from the mom, and she's acting like I'm obviously she's upset her child died. I'm not going to take that from her. But she's like, he assured me his life was not at risk. He told me that my son's weight loss and his pain were not symptoms of his diabetes, but that he was on the verge of a rebound that mainstream medicine liver. Like, no, lady, a doctor told you your son has diabetes, and the world knows that if you're diabetic, you need insulin.
Yep.
Like, come on. Especially type 1 diabetes. That's the one you're born with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a lot different than the diabetes I have. Like, you can't fuck around with type 1 diabetes.
No, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. And these fucking herbalists or homeopathic doctors, they need to be held accountable. Like, they absolutely need to be held accountable. This is not fucking okay.
And I see people on Facebook are like, oh, you have a cold? Take this, take that. You know? No, I'm going to, like, you know, I mean, I know that doctors like to, in some cases, like to overprescribe. That's not the case that I've ever been. Honestly, I've never had doctors pushing pills on me that I don't think that I validly need.
I love a pull pushing doctor.
Yeah, but no, it's just crazy. I just don't get it. I don't get it, and it's fucked to me too, because it seems like the more stories come out with people dying, it just seems to like push these people in the corner more, when they're just believing it that much more, and they just will not let go of the fact that they're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I stop myself on Facebook, and I know that we're getting close to time, because my cousins and some people who, some of them are listening, and I don't give a fuck if you're offended. I really don't care about your feelings. Go kill yourself. And that's meant to be satirical.
Satirically.
I hate it when they post, if you drink a glass of lemon juice a day, you won't get cancer. Bitch, that's not true.
Yeah, I have one
drinking it though, and you'll get some fucking acid reflux.
Soursop will keep you from getting cancer.
What is this bullshit?
You know, the freaking yucca leaves will keep you from fucking getting this. It's like, no, if that was the case, nobody in these countries where soursop and yucca grow would have illnesses.
Cancer.
But they still get illness.
It's just, again, the slightest belief in this bullshit leads you down a fucking road of just the most asinine things you will ever fucking see in your life. At least in regards to somebody who, you know, has their head firmly outside of their asshole would ever see. Like, I honestly saw that one of the anti-vaxxers that's on my Facebook say that cancer is a virus. Right, I was done. Like, I was done. I was like, you are one of the stupidest fucking people I have ever encountered in my life. It's a virus, a fucking virus. I can walk outside, not wear the right jacket, and catch cancer. The fuck, like,
oh my god!
Right?
Just sitting on a plane next to somebody will give you cancer.
Yeah. Oh no, that bitch sneezed. Now I got the cancer. Like, are you fucking?
Well,
kidding
that's
me?
like my uncle. I'll never forget who told me. You know, in order for you to get rid of what is it? Halitosis, you just have to gargle with bleach once a day.
Motherfucker.
I was like, what?
What do you have to gargle?
Bleach. Oh my fucking god.
I swear to you, Jacqueline is so quiet. I think she has just exploded. Did you explode?
Oh, that's fucking
insane. I don't have halitosis. He wasn't saying this to me. I just want to clarify that.
That's fucking insane.
He said this, and I remember sitting down, and it was like, what are you talking about? Or the time that I was still, and again, these are all people in my family. I'm not going to mention their names out of respect. I had another uncle who said eating sardines, it helps with bone growth. I was like, what?
I've heard people say that because I think the calcium in there they think is like really good for you. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard people say that.
There's absolutely some truth in the homeopathy stuff. There absolutely is. I mean, humans existed for so fucking long without actual medical science that some of this stuff is true. Yeah. But if you're honestly going to sit there and fucking tell me that whatever your hippie fucking quack doctor said is more prevalent than what somebody who went to 7 years of fucking med school is saying, I just write you off as a human being.
You mean like my mom who says that anything can be cured by taking a shower?
Oh my god, that's me. I always tell my kids, do you, like, whenever they say they feel sick, I'm like, do you have to poo? It's always like, do you have to poo?
But see, that's part of the issue too, is we don't know that we feed into it. Because I was told, like, today, I've been feeling very, very sick, and I know it's coming soon because I feel on your is it frontal lobe they call it, whatever it is. Like, I feel the pressure of the mucus coming in, and one of my coworkers was like, you know what really helps? I was like, what? She's like, just a little bit of lavender oil and some some oranges, and you just sniff it all in, and you'll feel so much better. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work, you crack whore.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you suggest fucking essential oils to me, I'm probably going to smack you in the mouth.
No, essential oils help you feel calm. You use them in a massage. Fantastic. It's not curing any of your viruses or bacterial infections.
Or even when you go homeopathic with certain things. Arthur and I don't know if I've said this, I've not had a physical cigarette in about a month and a half.
Oh, right on.
And I am juuling. I'm juuling though, but you know, hopefully it doesn't explode in my face, but I'm not smoking cigarettes. I hate it when someone said to me, for you to quit, you know what you really should do? You should just chew. What was it? It was like you should just chew on pencils. I was like, what? No. Pencils. Pencils, by the way. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Pencils. That's what I was told. I swear to God, I was told pencils.
That's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It is shocking, some of the things you'll hear people say if you don't have enough common sense, right?
Yeah.
And you come from, like, let's say, the most rural of rural areas, and you tend to believe what little nickel and dime somebody tells you to make you feel better, you'll probably be idiotic enough to try it. But since I have some sort of common sense, at least, not a lot, but a little bit, I don't believe these things.
Oh, fuck no. How can you?
Pencils, by the way.
That's the thing. Like, you know, like people really use, like Arthur was saying, for centuries, people use things like willow bark tea when you had headaches, but they didn't have Tylenol. You know,
Exactly.
people used herbs to help what they hoped would help with an infection, but people usually died from infection because they didn't have penicillin or amoxicillin or any of these things that we have now. You know, yes, there's some credence to them, but it doesn't mean it's a cure-all.
It's just, again, a lot of it's just so fucking stupid. Like, half these people I see talking shit about vaccines and stuff, like, bitch, you're wearing glasses. Like, the fuck, like, how do you not see that you're just being completely and wildly erratic and just wrong? You know what I mean? Like, you have glasses on, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. Well, what do you mean? Like, you're using medical fucking science to better yourself. Like, I fucking hate people.
Stick some pine needles in your eyes.
Yeah, really though, yeah.
Oh my God, goodbye. I'm so done with pine needles.
But you know what? Like I had said this previously one time, Arthur and I mentioned, yes, when the sailors came over and they had scurvy and the native people gave them tree bark tea, right? That taught them how to not have scurvy. So there, you know, because there's vitamin C in the tree bark. Fine, that stuff is true, but that doesn't mean, you know, that's going to cure my cancer if I get cancer. So I'll go to doctors. Yes. Thank you. I just want to say before we end the show, the news came out yesterday that Stephen Avery from the very famous Making a Murder documentary on Netflix has been granted an appeal. His lawyer asked for them to turn over the bones that they say are his quote victims, his alleged victims' bones, because they never had DNA testing done on them, yet they determined that they were her bones somehow. So he's going to get an appeal. I've never been sure if he was guilty. He's a little bit weird and some of it is suspicious, but I really felt like he never got a fair trial. So if he gets a fair trial and he's found guilty, good. His nephew that is serving life in prison, I really felt like had nothing to do with it and is in prison because he's mentally slow. I don't know what you call him. Learning disability. He's slow. He's probably what we would have called, you know, mentally retarded back in the day. Yeah, and he's serving life in prison, and he has been denied many, many times for an appeal. So maybe if Stephen Avery is found not guilty, they'll have to throw out Brendan Dassey's admission.
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people didn't follow it, but it was a big case. That made, because of the documentary, shined a lot of light on what was going on in that town. It's weird because what had happened was he served like 16 years in prison for a rape that he didn't do. They found out that some of the police knew that he didn't do it, but never let anybody know that there was another suspect. Yeah. And so then once he was released, he had a huge lawsuit against the county, the police there, and these people all, after his accused murder, that they accused him of doing, they all had their fingers involved in it when they should have been completely removed from it and let somebody else conduct the murder investigation. They were on scene. One of the guys named in his lawsuit found key evidence after people had searched that room several times. So it's very sticky, very shady on it's called Manitowoc Police Department. They did some shady shit. So I really feel like whether he was guilty, he might be guilty. I feel like they ensured that he would be found guilty by possible. I feel like things were planted. And you know me, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I really feel like they planted some evidence to ensure that he would be found guilty. And
Jacqueline
hopefully,
is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I am totally lizard people. Everybody, I saw that video of Obama's Secret Service man changing lizard skin.
Yeah. Fucking irrefutable proof.
But anyway, so I'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll see what's happening. But that's big news coming out of Wisconsin today. So thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday, I'm guessing, and have a good week.
Take care.
Don't be pregnant.
Bye.